Hey everybody, welcome back to Cooking with Choo, CHOO/CHEW. I wanted to come back yesterday, but I'm recovering from an eye procedure. Not complaining, God is good, I can see. But driving home, it was precarious, and I'm thanking God, and my heart goes out to anyone who has vision impairment of any kind. It is absolutely no joke. An unusual pain that I had not had before, but I got a prescription, and so here I am. God is good. We're making meatloaf today, and I've already prepared one. I'll show that to you, but I want to get right into this because there's a lot of components, and I have sent along to my contact for CCAF, those of us doing consecration. I have sent the recipe ahead, and then hopefully he can send it along with the video. That's my hope. In any event, we're going to start off with our aromatics. So I've got one medium red Bermuda onion, and I've got 4 cloves of garlic that are going to go. Let me turn you this way if I can, so you can see that I'm food processing this. We need these ingredients fine. If they're too large, they're not going to stick together. Protein, you know, eggs, you pour it into a pan, it solidifies. Hamburger solidifies. Vegetables, not so much. And other components, they just don't come together real well. So we're having to add to this a lot of items in order for this to adhere. So in this bowl, I have some celery. It's just one stalk, maybe too many carrots at this point. I don't have my beets here, and I should have had those. So, you know, you prepare the best way you can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This is one whole portobello mushroom. There is more protein in this. So we're going to attempt to process this, get it done, get it as fine as we possibly can without turning it into a sauce. Here we go, it's plugged in. And so right now I'm getting into a pretty fine mix. Don't want it too fine. And then what I'm going to do is empty this out into my bowl for mixing with more of the protein items. Take your blade out, per usual. I still need to use it, so I'll sit it there for just a moment. This is my bowl. So trust me, I'm putting all of this in my bowl right now. Some of the pieces are not as fine as I would like. You can either pick those out or take chances on it coming together anyway. You don't have to wash your bowl. Everything's gonna be in the same pot. I started out by greasing my loaf pan, and I lined it. This is just more grapeseed oil and avocado oil. I use grapeseed inside, but avocado oil because I found a wonderful can of spray, which I shouldn't have on the stove. The flame is not lit. Okay, there's my loaf pan. All right, I'm going to start with some, of course. Some of this is smoked tofu. Some of you may have seen the video the other day. I dropped a piece, that happens. There's my tofu. To this goes in the trash. Keep a trash bag hanging nearby. We've got 2 cans. I'm gonna do a can and a half. My meatloaf is very large, you will see. So I'm gonna do about a can and a half of the garbanzo beans. For flavor, we need hummus. Hummus is garbanzo beans with garlic and tahini, lemon juice, and it tastes really good. So this is our protein. In this jar, I have what is known as chickpeas. I put chickpeas in my coffee whenever I drink it, and flaxseed. This is chia seed, I'm sorry, chia seeds with a little water. It becomes thick and gooey. Becomes an egg substitute in many recipes that you will see. This recipe is trial and error. I came up with it. I'd done a meatloaf years ago when I attempted to do plant-based. I just couldn't keep it up. This is very hard. It's beneficial, but it is very expensive. I'm sure you all know by now. That was flaxseed, also in a little bit of water. I'm not measuring this because this is bouillon, and we can always use a good bit of that. That was about a tablespoon. Here's some black pepper. I'm going to sprinkle it in, not spoon it in. That's about a half tablespoon. To help thicken this up and help it to come together, we're using, which is wonderful when you're not doing plant-based or anything, you can do small pieces of chicken, you can do spinach leaves, chickpea flour with water and just a little bit of seasoning. This makes all of your fried foods, if you choose to do that, very, very, very crispy. This is great, and I'm hoping that it will help this plant-based meatloaf come together. We're going to use about a quarter cup. Again, I have sent the recipe on to the person that may load this video up. That's 1/4 cup twice, so that's about half a cup of your plant-based eggs. Now, a person who had done a meatloaf that I saw before used, he used oatmeal. Oatmeal and me don't agree. I like it a lot, but digestion, as far as meatloaf is concerned, doesn't work for me. So this is organic hemp hearts, and they're whole. So I'm using this to help thicken this up as well. And of course, in order to make this taste a little bit more like meat, a little bit of that liquid smoke that we've used in a couple of items that we've prepared. Don't need too much. That was about a teaspoon. We always need, as I've stated before, sesame oil. This one's combined with something else. I forget what it's combined with, but it's very good. Gives a lot of flavor. Gonna also use a little bit of the garlic powder. This gives a nice flavor. Although we have fresh garlic in there, that's good too. I always use fried onions. They're sweeter. They add a lot of flavor to items. So you see I'm kind of dumping. Here's my smoked paprika, which we've been using quite a bit. And the major binder here is going to be, let me turn you this way. Do you remember I made aquafaba, which comes from chickpeas, the can of chickpeas. This is the liquid that comes from that. Well, I have some on my counter over here that, you see, this is why the mayo came together. This becomes like egg. So I'm gonna just stand here. Hopefully you can see me. I don't wanna make a mess on the counter. But you simply use your submersion blender. Stick it down in an appropriate sized glass or vessel. And it becomes a nice foam. But what I don't want to do is put too much liquid in there. So I'm going to grab some of that foam and pour it into the blender along with a little bit of the liquid, because we're going to need the liquid to get this to combine. It's not going to work without some liquid in there. And this is foamy, but it's also liquid too. So we'll see right now how far that goes along. A little bit of housekeeping I'll show you. A little bit of housekeeping I will show you once I get this started. Looks like it's going to work. Found a really good bread. This is called Grains Almighty. This is a wonderful plant protein bread. We've been eating our coconut bacon with tomato and lettuce, avocado. We've been using it along with some of the tofu that was smoked. We had sandwiches yesterday. I'm trying to use everything that I have made thus far to see how it goes. So this is looking good right now. This is very pasty looking. But once you stir it into your veggies, I'll put this here. I roasted my meatloaf yesterday on 350. Actually, I started out with a lower fire, 330, and then I moved it up to 350. It took at least an hour to look like it was going to solidify. And then I put it back in the oven once I took it out after about an hour. And I tell you what, I put a piece of foil over the pan and I put it back in the oven with the oven turned off and allowed it to sit in there until the oven was completely cool, which was probably well over an hour. So this looks really pasty, but you can always chop up and add in anything else that you want in the way of protein. But once you see how this turns out, you'll be pleasantly surprised. So what I've got in here are the aromatics, the veggies. The best thing for you to do when you're making something like this is to take a pan with a little bit of oil, put a piece in, and see how it tastes cooked. Doing it just like this, you're not going to get anything but the raw taste of the onions, the garlic, and that sort of thing. So you're going to need to put this into an oil pan. I don't think I have much time to do this. Trying to make sure that these videos aren't so super duper long. But this is what it's looking like thus far. Now, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, this is raw, but there's no raw egg, there's no raw meat. You can taste it. Tastes really good, but what I really feel like it needs is some soy sauce. And I also feel like it needs those ground up red beets, because that helps the meatloaf to look more like meatloaf. Meatloaf, when you put it together, is red. So I'm gonna probably add those once I get done with this. I'm gonna pour this into my loaf pan, bake it at 350 for an hour. I'm gonna turn the oven off and leave it sit with some foil on top. And we're gonna have a meatloaf. And because of the magic of videos, I'm gonna show you the meatloaf I did last night, being real careful of this knife. We had a piece, Brian had a piece a little while ago. Said it was delicious, but I had too many peppers in it, so I don't recommend peppers, because after all, these are vegetables, and it was prominent. But this is my meatloaf. That's the texture. And on top, instead of the sugary ketchup, the way we normally cover our meatloaves, I use the spaghetti sauce that I made the other day with the spaghetti squash. I took it, cooked it, made it a little bit thicker, and spread it over top. And as you can see, that's a very good size meatloaf. And because I like to make a practice of tasting things in front of my audience, here's just a little teeny bite. Would I rather have turkey meatloaf? Would I rather have ground beef meatloaf? Yeah, absolutely. But this is very good. I can slice it. I can put it in the microwave, put it on some bread with mustard, mayo, or I can put it in with just lettuce and tomato. It's moist enough. Another housekeeping item, I'm going to turn this fire off. Portobello mushrooms. Of course, that's one of the components in this meatloaf. But portobello mushrooms, you can soak these in aromatics in seasonings. You can put some soy sauce on these. You can put them on a grill pan, and you can use a portobello mushroom as a meat substitute. Lots of people use these that way. I haven't done it, but I may try it. The next thing that I plan to cook for you would be some plant-based pot roast, which is basically going to be pieces of the jackfruit with a brown sauce, lettuce, potatoes, carrots, and perhaps some onions, and we'll see how that turns out. I'll try it first here, and if it works out okay, I'll come on and do a demo. Anyway, I hope I haven't confused anybody. I hope you do this. It is absolutely delicious. Is it meat? No. This is plant-based. This has been a long couple of weeks, and I'm praying that you guys are hanging in there and that God is blessing you for it, that you're feeling better inside. I know I am. I posted on Facebook the other day when I went to my eye doctor, which was Tuesday. Not only did he give me a good report on my eyes, I get shots constantly, but that's to keep swelling behind the eyes uh, because of retinopathy. But in any event, I'm not complaining. God is good. But my point is, my blood pressure, something he always checks before he examines my eyes, it was 121 over 71. The last time I had done that before the eye doctor, it was elevated quite a bit, more, the highest blood pressure I had ever seen for me. But it was 121 over 71. So I have to think it has something to do with the way we're eating, the water we're drinking as opposed to sugary drinks, and so much more. Anyway, I pray that this is a blessing to you. Bye-bye.